You see her on Instagram, linen sheets, morning sunlight, expensive coffee in a ceramic mug. No alarm, no rush, no hustle. She's living this soft life. And you think that looks so easy? Well, it's not. Because here is what the aesthetic doesn't show you. The discipline it took to say no to the prestigious job that would have destroyed her. The boundaries she enforces daily, even when people call her selfish. The financial planning that created freedom, not the spontaneous manifestation the caption suggests. The years of unlearning productivity addiction before she could sit in that morning light without guilt screaming at her to do something. The soft life isn't soft. It's the hardest thing a woman raised in hustle culture will ever attempt. Because rest, in a world designed to extract every ounce of your energy, in a culture that equates your worth with your productivity, in a system that punishes women for choosing ease, rest is rebellion, and rebellion requires discipline. Today, I'm going to dismantle the soft life fantasy and show you why building a life of intentional rest is harder and more powerful than any hustle you've ever committed to. Hi, and welcome back to Miss Rain. I'm so excited to be in your ears today. And if you've ever felt guilty for resting, if you've scrolled soft life content while working yourself into burnout, if you've wanted ease but been terrified of being called lazy, this episode will reframe everything you thought you knew about rest. Right now, soft life content is everywhere. TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest. Millions of views of women in luxurious robes, taking afternoon naps, having slow mornings, working part-time or not at all, prioritizing pleasure over productivity, saying no without explanation, or looking effortlessly at peace. And the comments are always the same. Half the people, this is gold, I want this. The other half, must be nice, some of us have to work. But here is what both groups are missing. The soft life isn't about not working. It's about refusing to be consumed by work. It's not about laziness. It's about intentional energy preservation. It's not easy. It's strategic. We're living through two simultaneous movements. Hustle culture speak, grind until you collapse, sleep when you're dead, burnout as a badge of honor. And the backlash, rest is resistance, soft life, anti-work movement, quiet quitting. And women, especially high-achieving women, are caught in the middle, told to prove their worth through productivity, sacrifice their well-being for success, feel guilty for any rest that doesn't feel earned, while simultaneously being told, just rest more, prioritize self-care, choose the soft life. As if that's simple. Here is what I'm going to show you today. The soft life requires more discipline than the hustle, not less, more. Because hustle is what you've been trained for, rest is what you have to fight for. Productivity is the default, ease is the rebellion. In this episode, we're exposing why the soft life is actually the hardest life for women conditioned to hustle. The discipline required to rest in a productivity-obsessed world. Why just rest is terrible advice, and what actually works. The difference between soft life aesthetic and soft life reality. Financial, emotional, and social costs of choosing ease. And the framework to build sustainable softness without going broke or losing yourself. By the end, you'll understand rest isn't the reward for hard work. Rest is the foundation of a life worth living. If you're ready, let's begin. Let's start by naming what the soft life looks like online versus what it actually requires. The aesthetic that we see online is sleeping in, spa days, expensive candles, Pilates at 11 a.m., brunch with friends, maybe reading for hours, afternoon naps, unbothered energy, or I don't do stressful. The vibe is effortless ease, luxury without labor, but the implication anyone can have this if they just choose it. While the reality that happens off camera is financial foundation, either years of saving invested to create freedom or strategic career choices that prioritize flexibility over prestige, or entrepreneurship that front loaded the work, or maybe intentional downsizing to reduce financial need. Also, the emotional work and learning productivity as identity, tolerating guilt without caving, withstanding judgment from family, society, and close ones, rebuilding self worth independent of output. The social cost, losing friends who only relate through shared hustle, being excluded from conversations about career achievements, being called lazy, privileged, or unrealistic, having to defend your choices constantly, and also daily discipline, saying no to opportunities that don't align, protecting your energy even when it disappoints people, choosing rest when your conditioning screams to be productive, maintaining boundaries in a culture that violates them all the time. The soft life isn't soft, it's strategic, and strategy requires discipline. Here is the lie embedded in soft life content. If you just relax and trust the universe, ease will flow to you. This is spiritual bypassing disguised as empowerment. The truth is, ease doesn't flow. Ease is built with financial planning, boundary enforcement, identity reconstruction, social consequence management, and daily micro choices that prioritize rest over approval. The soft life requires architecture, and architecture requires discipline. Now, let me tell you why rest is actually harder than hustle. This might sound backwards, but stay with me. I'll give you a few reasons. Reason number one, hustle is what you've been trained for. Think about it. From childhood, you've been conditioned. Good grades equals love and approval. Hard work equals worthiness. Busyness equals importance. Productivity equals value. And rest? Rest is just laziness. Your nervous system is wired for hustle. Dr. Gabor Mate, physician and trauma expert, explains, we live in a culture that valorizes overwork and pathologizes rest. For many people, especially women, their sense of safety is tied to productivity. Resting triggers the nervous system's alarm. If I'm not producing, I'm not safe. Let me give you a simple translation. Hustle feels safe, even though it's destroying you. Rest feels dangerous, even though it's healing you. So hustle is the path of least resistance. Rest is the rebellion. Reason number two, productivity addiction is real. Let's call it what it is. Many of us are addicted to being busy. Research on work addiction by Dr. Cecily Scow Andreessen. Work addiction involves using work to cope with negative emotions, receiving a dopamine hit from productivity, and experiencing withdrawal symptoms, anxiety, guilt, resistance when not working. I'll give you some signs of productivity addiction. You might feel anxious when you're not doing something. Maybe your self-worth is tied to your to-do list, or you fill every free moment with tasks. Resting makes you feel guilty or worthless. You're exhausted but can't stop. You judge others who rest more than you. Here is the uncomfortable truth. Hustle is your drug, and rest is withdrawal. So, which one sounds harder? Continuing the addiction you're wired for, or breaking it and sitting through the discomfort? Exactly. rest is harder. Reason number 3, rest has no external validation. Yes, nowadays everyone is seeking external validation. Hustle gives you that. It gives you promotions, recognition, money, status, praise, social media engagement, and comments saying, she's so inspirational. But rest gives you your health back, your peace back, your life back, and your sanity back. But no one uploads that. No one gives you a trophy for sleeping 8 hours, saying no to overtime, taking a mental health day, leaving work at 5 p.m. Self-determination theory by Deci and Ryan explains, humans are motivated by both intrinsic rewards, internal satisfaction, and extrinsic rewards, external recognition. In cultures that primarily value extrinsic achievement, behaviors that are only intrinsically rewarding, like rest in this case, are harder to sustain. Hustle simply gets rewarded externally, while rest only rewards you internally. And internal rewards require discipline to prioritize over external ones. The last reason I would give you, rest requires tolerating judgment. Yes, when you hustle, people say she's so driven, such a hard worker, so inspiring. When you choose the soft life, people say, must be nice. Some of us have real responsibilities. She's lazy, privileged, and realistic. Even from women, and especially from women still stuck in hustle. Because your rest triggers their exhaustion. Your softness exposes their burnout. Your boundaries highlight their lack of them. And that makes you a threat. So the discipline requires a lot of things. Can you rest anyway? Can you choose ease even when people judge you? Can you protect your softness when the world wants you hard? That's harder than any hustle. Now let's talk about why rest is so hard for women specifically, because this isn't individual, this is systemic. There is the patriarchal setup. Women have been taught your value is tied to your service. Your worth is measured by how much you give, how little you require, how much you sacrifice, how selfless you are, and how much you can handle. The good woman is the good mother, always available. The good wife, always accommodating. The good employee, always productive. The good daughter, always helpful. The good friend, always supportive. Notice the pattern? Always, always, always. Never resting, never requiring, never receiving. For centuries, women's labor was unpaid. Domestic work, invisible, emotional labor, expected, not optional, and endless. No days off. When women entered the paid workforce, did domestic expectations decrease? No. We just added a second shift. Work 40 plus hours, then come home and do all the unpaid labor. And the result? Women are exhausted by design. And rest is refusing to participate in your own exploitation. But here is the modern twist, or modern trap. Now we're told you can have it all: career, family, fitness, hobbies, social life, perfect home, side hustle, as long as you never rest. Girl boss feminism told us empowerment equals working as hard as men while still doing everything women have always done. This isn't liberation, this is exhaustion rebranded as empowerment. Women saying, actually, I'm opting out. And the backlash is, how dare you? Alright, so if this soft life isn't soft, what does it actually require? Let me break it down. Soft life requires financial infrastructure. Let's be honest about money. The soft life requires financial strategy. Not being rich, though that helps. Having a sugar daddy, the patriarchal assumption. Ignoring money, the spiritual bypassing approach, but strategic financial design that creates freedom. And there are many options to do that. The first one, reduce expenses, downsize housing, eliminate unnecessary subscriptions and overconsumption, simplify lifestyle, and reduce financial need. The second option, increase passive income by investments, rental income, royalties, systems that generate money without constant labor. Third option, restructure work, part-time with intention, freelance with boundaries, entrepreneurship with automation, high-value work but with fewer hours. The fourth option, savings buffer, an emergency fund, a soft-life fund, cushion for saying no, financial runway for transitions, and the discipline here is planning, saving, sacrificing now for ease later, resisting lifestyle inflation, choosing long-term freedom over short-term status. And this is harder than just earning more and spending more. Another requirement for self-life is identity reconstruction. Because if your identity is your productivity, what are you when you rest? This is the existential crisis of the soft life. The work separating your worth from your output, building identity around being, not doing, tolerating the discomfort of unproductive time, redefining success, internal versus external. Dr. Kristen Neff's research on self-compassion explains people who tie their self-worth to achievement experience severe identity crisis when they are not producing. Learning to value yourself independent of productivity requires deliberate practice and often professional support. So, to stay disciplined, you might need daily reminders that you have inherent worth, practicing self-compassion when productivity voice screams, rebuilding who you are from the ground up. This is deep psychological work. The soft life requires boundary mastery. It requires saying no a lot to jobs that pay well but destroy your peace, to relationships that demand constant performance, to social obligations that drain you, to family expectations that don't serve you, to opportunities that don't align. And the discipline here is enforcing boundaries even when people are disappointed. Yes, even when you're called selfish, when you miss out on things, and when you're excluded. Boundaries aren't set once, they're enforced daily. That's the discipline. Another requirement for soft life is nervous system rewiring. Remember, your nervous system is wired for hustle, and rest triggers alarm bells. So you might need to teach your body that rest is safe. Polyvagal theory by Dr. Stephen Porges. The nervous system needs repeated experiences of safety to learn that rest is not dangerous. This requires consistent practice over time, not willpower. You can start with micro rests, 5 minutes, without guilt. Gradually extend so you can build tolerance for ease. Somatic practices teach your body to down-regulate, and consistent sleep schedule. Train system to trust rest. Again, discipline is key for success. So you might need to do this even when it feels uncomfortable. Staying with the discomfort of rest and not caving to the urge to be productive. The last requirement is social consequence management. Here is what no one tells you. When you choose the soft life, some people will leave. Friends who bond over shared hustle, family who valued your achievements, partners who liked your salary, colleagues who admired your grind. Why? Because your softness threatens their heart. Your rest exposes their exhaustion. Your boundaries challenge their lack of them. What you can do about this? letting them go anyway, trusting that aligned people will come, building new community around your values. This is one of the hardest parts, I know, but discipline is the key. Alright, so you might be asking, how do you actually do this? Of course, I'm gonna give you a framework. Step number 1, audit your energy. Before you can design softness, you need data. So, for let's say 2 weeks, track what drains you: activities, people, obligations, what restores you, not what should, but what actually does. Where you're saying yes out of obligation, where you're saying no out of fear. This gives you the map. And then comes step number 2, design your non negotiables. The soft life isn't about doing nothing, it's about protecting what matters. So define your non negotiables. Maybe it's sleep. How many hours? What time? Alone time. How much do you need? How often? Movement. What kind? What frequency? Nourishment. Quality food. Hydration. And joy. Not optional, but scheduled. These are the foundation. Everything else is negotiable. After that comes step number 3. Build financial runway. You can't rest if you're terrified of losing your income, of course. So create a soft life fund. Maybe 3 to 6 months expenses saved. This is the minimum. Gives you power to say no. It reduces financial anxiety and creates space for strategic choices. Start small, maybe $50 a month, if that's what you have. Automate it and celebrate progress. The goal isn't to never work, it's to have choices, because you deserve that. Step number 4, practice micro softness. Don't quit your job tomorrow and expect to rest. Your nervous system will panic. So build softness gradually. For example, first week, 1 morning without checking email first thing, 1 meal without phone, 1 evening without productivity. Second week, add 15 minutes of intentional rest daily. Say no to one obligation and protect one boundary. Third week, take 1 full day off, truly off. Schedule 1 pleasure activity. Enforce 1 boundary consequence. So build the muscle, train your system, and prove to yourself rest is survivable. Step number 5, find your soft life community, because you can't do this alone. Find people who value rest over hustle, people who have boundaries you admire, don't equate worth with productivity, and people who support your softness. You might be asking, where can I find them? Maybe online communities, soft life, anti-hustle spaces, therapy or coaching groups, friends who've opted out, books, podcasts that normalize rest, like Miss Rain, and follow hustle glorification content and grind culture influencers. Simply anyone who makes you feel guilty for resting. Your algorithm shapes your beliefs, so curate softness. If you want to know more about how your algorithm is affecting your life, we've already did an episode about that. Feel free to listen to it. Last step, redefine success. Create new metrics. If the old metrics are how much did I achieve, how productive was I, how did I earn, new metrics need to be how peaceful do I feel, how much energy do I have, how aligned are my choices, how much joy did I experience, how well did I honor my needs. Valuing these even when society doesn't, celebrating these even when no one uploads, trusting these even when others judge is the real discipline. Before we close, let me tell you the hard truths about the soft life. It's not for everyone. Some people genuinely can't access the soft life yet. Not because they're not disciplined enough, but because their circumstances don't allow it. For example, single parents with no support, people with dependents who rely on them, those without financial safety nets, people in survival mode. And that's real. The soft life isn't accessible to everyone equally. Capitalism, racism, and systemic inequality ensures this. But everyone deserves rest. And we can fight for systemic change while also claiming what rest we can. Another truth, soft life is lonely sometimes. Yes, it can be isolating because most people are still hustling. And when you opt out, you're not in the group chats about work stress. You're not commiserating about being busy. You're not competing for achievements. You're simply elsewhere, building a different life, and that can feel lonely until you find your people. The last truth, the guilt never fully disappears. Even when you've built the soft life, the conditioning doesn't fully leave. You'll still have moments of, should I be doing more? Am I being lazy? Is this sustainable? This is where you need to be disciplined more and more, not letting those moments derail you, recognizing them as old programming and choosing softness anyway. So here is what I need you to understand. Rest is not a luxury. Rest is not a reward for hard work. Rest is not something you earn. Rest is your birthright. And claiming it in a world designed to extract every ounce of your energy, that's the most disciplined thing you'll ever do. The soft life isn't soft because it's easy. It's soft because it's gentle with you. In a world that's being hard on you, in a culture that demands you be hard on yourself, in a system that punishes softness, choosing softness is revolutionary, and revolution requires discipline. You don't have to hustle yourself into an early grave to prove your worth. You're allowed to rest without earning it. You're allowed to say no without guilt, to prioritize peace over productivity, to choose ease over achievement, and to build a life that feels good, not just looks good. And if people call you lazy, let them. You'll be too arrested to care. Share this episode with a woman who's exhausted from hustle, who dreams of softness but thinks it's impossible, who needs permission to rest. And remember, the soft life isn't soft, but you deserve it anyway. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Until next time, stay graceful, stay powerful, and always wear your crown.